Hello, welcome back, you guys. Sorry, I seem a bit off, but I slept in a little bit. Not actually that much. I turned off my alarm to wake up 10 minutes after I normally do, go figure. But, I went out last night, actually, for like the first time in a while, anyway. But I went by myself to meet a friend at a bar, and after about 2 hours, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm finally on my way, and I'm just like, no. I stood outside a lot. It was kind of cold, but luckily I did run into an old co-worker, and I hung out with her for a little bit, and then my husband showed up for a short while and had a drink with me, and then my old manager from my last job also showed up, and we're pretty chill, so we hung out. Wound up getting in a conversation with somebody at the bar about Star Wars and stuff. Anyway, but, yeah, I was supposed to meet a friend from my old D&D group on Saturday night, but apparently they got caught up in something and kind of failed to let me know what was really going on and when they were really going to be there. So I was just like, never mind, who cares? But God, it is freezing right now. I don't know, like, my heater almost died on me last night. I had to take it apart and clean it. That was great. I get home, and it's kind of cold in the house and like that. But, I saw a couple snowflakes falling earlier. Supposedly we're supposed to be getting some snow. None of it's taking, though. None of it's sticking. But, I don't know, occasionally I'll see one, but the wind is still, like, crazy outside, and just, but on the good side, you know, like, I did get to hang out with some friends, or people that I used to know that I'm still on good terms with, and I got to talk to somebody new, which was nice, and I tried a new drink that I never had before. It was something that my ex-manager, he kind of came up with on his own. It kind of tastes like an orange Tootsie Roll Pop. It's got, like, Kahlua and OJ, and I forget what the other alcoholic component is. It's, like, got 3 things in it. It is really good. It tastes a lot like an orange Tootsie Roll Pop. But, anyway, on to stuff and things and stuff. So, yes. I gotta admit, this was one of the big things that caught my eye when I first looked at the page this morning. Apparently, there's an article going on, all right on the top, about Nintendo. So I looked at it. Apparently, there was a press conference recently at a Tokyo hotel where Nintendo was reporting their sales and all that jazz from the past year and their expectations and things. I guess everybody just wanted to know, hey, what are you up to? Especially over there, because that's like their lifeblood is technology. So, anyway, somebody posed the question that in order to boost sales this year, why don't they just lower the price of the Wii U, like they did with the 3DS? Now, that just makes me go, I'm glad I didn't buy it yet, because I know personally I got the 3DS back when it was $269. The only thing I got out of that was the fact that, for one, I didn't pay for it because it was a present, luckily. But for the fact that it was so expensive at the time and they lowered it almost $100, that I became an ambassador, so I have a certificate thingy on the 3DS, and I had a bunch of downloadable content that nobody else had, until more recently when virtual consoles become more of a thing. But, you know, whatever. Moving on, back to the thing here. Yeah, he admitted during a press conference, though, the president, Satoru Iwata, he said that the sales momentum for the Wii as well as the 3DS had run out of steam during the key year-end shopping season. Honestly, I don't see why they're so surprised. It was the holidays, everybody bought gifts, and things died down, but apparently they're saying what happened is, basically, all I can say is that their sales were low in comparison to what they've been in a decade, apparently, and so they're freaking out because, I mean, you gotta admit, they've got a lot of stuff up against them. The fact that their console's about $300, although Iwata doesn't think that that's a problem. He honestly thinks that that's a good price for it, and I think so too. It's just harder to obtain something that's $300 when you can go out and get an Xbox for about the same, and it's been a good console, and now it has other things like the Kinect that you could add to it. I mean, when E3 was out last year and everybody was doing that thing, Microsoft came out with the Smart Glass, and that's a pretty hard thing to run up against because that works with smartphones, tablets, you name it. It's like the perfect console. The Xbox 360, unfortunately, has been one of the most adaptable systems of all time so far, other than I think a PC could still be considered an adaptable system, but I don't know how many people think of a PC as a console. I guess it's not really in that label, but at the same time, you game on it most of the time. You do other things, and all these home consoles, like one of the appeals with Smart Glass is that it's easier to watch Netflix, or it's easier to browse the internet, and that's one of the things a PC does. So I'm just starting to group that all together because PC gaming is a thing, and it is pretty big now. So I think it's part of these console wars that are currently going on. But yeah, so he goes on to say, though, that no price cuts were in the works. Price cuts were common in the gaming industry to woo buyers into taking in products, but the move can backfire by trimming down their revenue, which happened when they cut the price down for the 3DS. They lost quite a bit of money trying to get that out, get people interested, unfortunately. Shigeru Miyamoto was actually quoted as saying, people have to try it to see it as fun. When speaking about the Wii U, he said that, you know, they need to work a little bit more into marketing, letting consumers see what this console's really like, because honestly, my father owns one. He got one during the holidays because it was such a big deal, and the United States sold out, you know, or supposedly they did, even though there were like 1 million of them on eBay jacked up. It was like people were just buying them to sell them back out. But hey, I mean, I understand that that's how shit works. But I personally can't buy one myself because I don't have money. I don't really have a very good TV for it because everything kind of has to be up to date in order to properly use that console. And I enjoy the snot out of it. Honestly, I think Nintendo Land was one of the most innovative game options they've come out with, and it's a very personal game option. I think that they're doing a good job with their development crew, but at the same time, it is hard for people to look at that and think, you know, first they're looking at this handheld screen and they're going, oh God, this is all I've got to control the thing. What happens if the screen breaks? You know, I guess that's why you get a warranty, but it's just, sometimes it feels like more trouble than it's worth. It is kind of big and bulky. It's bigger than a normal handheld. It sometimes takes people a while to warm up to the idea, and I honestly think Nintendo is freaking out over nothing, but at the same time I'm a little worried myself, because they're sitting here and they're lowering their expectations. It says in Kyoto, their Nintendo base, which makes the Super Mario, Pokemon games, Zelda games, Donkey Kong games, they're more popular franchises. They lowered their full sales forecast from 760 billion yen, or $7.4 billion, from their original expectation of 810 billion yen, which is about $8.9 billion. So it's not a huge cut to some. Like, I'm looking at the numbers and going, well, at least you're still getting 7.4 billion more than likely, but that'll still remain to be seen. And I guess in comparison to 8.9 billion, or almost $9 billion, that is kind of a cut. But apparently they also lowered their full year's sales forecast for the Wii U game software from 16 million units to 24 million, or from 24 million. Like, that is a pretty big gap. From 24 to 16 as an expectation, I guess they, you know, but Iwata mentioned that he thinks Nintendo needs hit games to push console sales. And the company is remaining confident that the Wii U will prove more popular in time. And that's what I'm thinking, and I really hope so, because if Nintendo went, Mario might wind up like Sonic, and I'm sorry, dude. I feel bad for you. I mean, you did a good job fighting that SNES Sega war right there, but you lost, and it did not turn out well. Anyway, let's move on to something else before I take up all of my time. Apparently, I saw this thing that said Kmart Blue Light Special, and I was like, what the heck is this? Apparently, a Seattle Kmart received a package which contained 10 pounds of pot. The story is it was originally sent from a UPS shipper from Los Angeles to Philadelphia, and it didn't get received, so it was returned to sender, and that thing said that its address was where the Seattle Kmart was. So it was described as an odd package. It was covered in plastic bags, wrapped in Korean newspaper, soaked in cleaning fluid, and packed with packing peanuts. And when employees found, they opened the box because it was foreign, they saw what was inside, they immediately called the authorities. And even though most of you know it is indeed legal, if you have marijuana in the state of Washington, there are limits on how much one person can carry at a time or consume at a time, things of that nature. So, I mean, because at first I was thinking, why do you need to report something that's legal? Why don't you just kind of like pass it out to your friends and, you know, nothing to see here? But at the same time, you know, if somebody did that with alcohol, they might get in trouble anyway. It's just like that. You don't play with fire. If you get the opportunity to have cake, don't take the whole cake, just take a slice. Because if you take the whole cake, it'll piss somebody off. You're abusing it. Anyway, but I thought it was pretty smart. They kept their hands clean, basically. They called the authorities. Authorities came and took it. You know, and now it's just kind of like, oh, ha, ha, I wonder where this came from, and they're just kind of looking into it here and there, like a thing. So that's cool, whatever. It's a funny story, I guess, you know. I would only imagine what would happen if I worked in a department store, and I get this weird box in the shipping department. I'm in charge of, like, doing the handling and stuff, and I open this, and it's got this weird box with Korean newspaper and then weed. 10 pounds. I mean, that's a lot. Anyway, my last thing here, since I love to talk about animals and stuff, I saw this one little story down, and I'm hoping to post a video of it, like a link to it down below. But it gave me all the warm and fuzzies because personally when I was a kid I used to have, my mom had a potbelly pig. We actually wound up having two after all. We had to get rid of them because apparently our land was a different classification than what farm animals are supposed to be on. God, I'm just beeping all over today. But this poor little piglet, he was born without use of his hind legs, so his owner took toy parts and made him one of those little wheelchair things that fit his little back end in. And the video is supposedly him running around and trying to learn how to use this, but he does really well apparently now. He's gotten used to it, and he just runs around like crazy. People are going, oh, it's a bionic piggy. Piglets are so cute. Oh my gosh. But anyway, enjoy your day, stay warm, and I'll see you later. Bye.